students, next topic in fourth unit of project management, resource loading and leveling. So what is the resource loading? So the total assigned work of the work divided by the number of hours you have to do the work, that is the resource loading. How the resource loaded in that informations. Then resource leveling defined as the process of using a company resources in most effective way. So how they are using the utilization of the resources, that is the use of the leveling. So how to load the informations, how to leveling the informations using the projects. So it is a technique in the project management that overlooks the resource allocation and resolve the over allocation. If the resources are there, they will use, the company or the project developers use the resource allocation. If the over allocation is there, they will use for the next project, that is the use of the over location, resolving the over locations. So next one is resource loading and leveling. So what is the structure of the resource leveling? It consists of the stage, phase and the task. That is the structure of the resource leveling. So stage by stage they have to separate, and phase by phase they have to separate, and task by task they have to separate. That is the use of the resource leveling. So various techniques are used for the leveling. So that is the fast tracking and the crashing of the project. Next topic we will see the crashing of the project. So that is the techniques for the resource loading and leveling. The structures of the resource leveling also there related to stage, phase and task. Next topic, project stakeholders and communication plan. So for developing the projects, the stakeholders are also important. We have to identify the stakeholders, we have to nominate the stakeholders, we have to use the stakeholders so throughout the project. So first one is how to identify how the information will be communicated to the stakeholders. So that is the plan. So how to identify the stakeholders, how to communication to the stakeholders. It contains purpose or goals of the plan. So what is the purpose of the project and what is the goal of the project? That is the plan in the communication plan. Next one is stakeholders informations and roles. So here the stakeholders information roles also important related to the project communication plan. So how the stakeholders are involving for the project, that is also important. Next one is type of the information shared to the stakeholders. So what are the informations to be included or what are the information should be shared for the stakeholders also important. So which type of information you have to share. So methods for sharing the information, that is also important. Then frequency to receive the information. So there is a time limit is there na. So in what way we have to retrieve the information from the stakeholders. These are all the main points in the stakeholders for the communication plan. Next topic, project stakeholders and communication plan. So here there is a method for making the plan. So how to make the plan? First point is choose the format. So there are several formats are there creating the plan. First we have to choose the opting the format for developing the plan. Next one is set a communication. So related to, so we have to identify the stakeholders, we have to identify the members, then we have to set the communication. Then identify the stakeholders related to the communication. Then identify the methods, in which method we have to develop the project. That is also important. Then determine the frequency of communication. In what way we have to communicate with the stakeholders and other workers. Then if any updates in the plan, we have to update the plan for the communication plan. So next topic is Goddard critical chain. This is also an important topic. In this, the Goddard is developed in 1997. Manage the process. It helps to avoid the delaying the project completion. If any related to the risk, there are any deviation is there, they have to cope up with the deviations. That's why we are using the Goddard critical chain. So these are the following activities are used to allocate the resources in the Goddard critical chain. First one is activity time and path. So the activity time of the project, which path we are using for the project is the activity time and path. Next one is the project team members. So what are the team members to be included for the project? That is the project team members. Then filling the available time. So throughout the time, so what are the available time or utilizing the project for the project time, doing the project, that is the filling available time. Then project time misuse. If the developing the time, the users or the developers the misusing the time now, so that is mean as the project time misused. Next, prioritizing the activities. So what are the activities, first priority or second priority? We have to evolving the priority wise, we have to evolving the process, that is the prioritize activities. Next one is results. So completing the project now, we have to obtain the results, outcome. Next one is task duration. So throughout the project, so several tasks are to be performed now, so the duration, the full task duration we have to compute. So then resources. So both are there. So what are the resources to be overloaded, underloaded? So utilization of the resources should be okay. So others are unloaded and overloaded. Utilization all the resources. If it is not there, now we have to update with the other projects. Next one is adding more projects. So for developing, for utilizing the other resources, now we have to adding the project and we have to utilize those project also. Thank you.